There are a few reasons why astronomy has garnered such a noticeable following in recent years, one of which is its honestly terrifying vastness, another is just aliens. But aside from that, the future on a global scale lies in outer space. It's an infinite playground and mystery, constantly shifting to change our ideas of what the universe really is. Coincidentally, Earth isn't doing all that well, as both natural and man-made disasters dominate headlines and raise predicaments that jeopardize society. It's evident that the planet has an exceedingly limited lifespan. Unless humanity fancies reaching the same end, interstellar expansion is no longer a want, but a need. Thus, we present a novel approach to space settlement, Charma 2.0. Welcome aboard a spacecraft designated to house 10,000 human inhabitants in the cosmos for time periods as long as multiple decades. Charma 2.0 is an orbital settlement, meaning that it isn't situated on a planet or any celestial body for that matter. It will be located in low Earth orbit, or LEO, an orbit only 2,000 kilometers away from Earth's surface. This close proximity provides the spacecraft with more fluent communication, easier resource supply, and a fortuitous lower degree of radiation. It is comprised of 4 main tori, 2 smaller ones on the top and bottom, sandwiching 2 larger ones. The central hub is located in the shared empty space between tori, where universally necessary items are stored. This includes the energy source, which is a liquid fluoride thorium reactor, or lifter. Lifter works similarly to a uranium reactor, merely harnessing the much more sustainable and efficient element of thorium. The propulsion system is also contained in the central hub, which is a cryogenic liquid chemical fuel. An oxidizer, liquid oxygen in our case, will help a fuel, liquid hydrogen, combust and expel hot gases to propel the structure when necessary. With that, let's take a closer look at the 4 main structural components. The uppermost torus is the recycling torus, and therefore it is one of the smaller size. The recycling torus is roughly 750 meters in diameter and spins at 2.47 rotations per minute. This will produce 0.3 g of gravity. This amount of gravity will suffice because there are no humans inhabiting this torus. Instead, only machinery is present. The purpose of the recycling torus is to recycle the immense amounts of aluminum, Kevlar, and other valuable materials in LEO that can be reused as industrial or constructive resources. While these treasures zoom around at high speeds, domes at either side of the central hub will periodically release tethers that can collect these flying pieces of space debris. Upon their assembly, they will be transported to the interior of the torus for sufficient processing. To sustain such a large population, Charma 2.0 must provide the individuals with their basic necessities, one of them being food, nourishment, and a suitable atmosphere. All of this lies in the agricultural torus. An appropriate atmosphere is required so that both the plants in the agricultural torus and the people in the residential torus can grow without biological hindrances. The ratio of gases comprised in the torus would be very similar to that of Earth's atmosphere, with a few alterations when needed. Through processes such as electrolysis and the Haber process, gases would be broken down from some more common compounds and be used for the citizens aboard. These processes would also continue in the residential torus. For their nourishment, Charma 2.0 has installed aeroponics methods. The amount of nutrition needed abroad would be the same as on Earth, since the only factor that would have harmed them was the lack of gravity, which Charma 2.0 does not constitute. Thus, the citizens do not have to take supplements in order to strengthen their bones and or muscles. Because of lack of technologies, animals cannot be bred, and the humans will have to have a vegan diet. The foods that are planned to be used are avocados, soybeans, beetroots, kidney beans, potatoes, oranges, bread, celery, broccoli, carrots, and grains. These foods would provide a stable diet as well as encourage healthy eating habits. The residential torus is, quite self-descriptively, the torus for residents. In fact, it is the only torus that will actively contain any humans at all. The residential torus is specifically designed to accommodate life in a way that mimics as many aspects of regular terrestrial life as possible, while also being an inherently space-oriented structure. It spins at 4 rotations per minute to create 1 g, the amount of gravity on Earth that we constantly experience. It's vital that inhabitants experience similar physical and biological conditions in order to preserve muscular capacity and other medical conditions. It contains 3 housing modules as well as recreational and luxury facilities, such as legal courts and shopping centers. However, each building is compact and limited to reduce cost, weight, and overall volume. Water and oxygen are widely produced in the residential torus through two systems known as the water reclamation system and the oxygen generation system respectively. Water is heavy and limited, so a lot of the liquid needed will be collected through unorthodox mechanisms, like retrieving condensated moisture from human breath in the ventilation system, urine in toilets, and any disposed liquids in culinary or hygienic fashions. With accommodation, lifestyle, hydration, and air out of the way, there's the problem of death, but that's, well, human bodies are easily transformed into nutrients for vegetation, but we'll keep that on the down low. By fostering humans comfortably in outer space, it removes strain on terrestrial resources and provides more sustainable, efficient, and research-oriented lifestyles. That's exactly what we're aiming for. The lowermost torus, known as the industrial torus, is designated to fulfill some of the mechanical requirements of the settlement, comprising of technologies to tend to the terrestrial communications, illumination, and emergency procedures concerning Charma 2.0. Terrestrial communication is vital to the well-being of the spacecraft, as it is what ultimately guides such a novel project to not utter destruction. Based on past successes, Charma 2.0 will utilize radio transmitters to send and retrieve signals from a terrestrial base in Mississippi. The electromagnetic waves released by the electronic oscillator generate the radio frequencies that are projected by antennae and travel through space to reach Earth. These transmissions can contain images as well as videos or other mediums of information. In terms of illumination, it would be unreasonable to utilize traditional light bulbs or LEDs, as they consume inefficient amounts of energy relative to the light that they provide. Instead, the industrial torus nurses pi LED lights, which are shown to have on-off cycles similar to those of the sun. To better distribute their light, mylar films coated with tantalum and hafnium reside on the majority of interior walls. They can demonstrate a reflectivity rate, or albedo, of up to 0.98 or 98%. This maximizes the little quantity of light that can manage aboard the spacecraft. Lastly, some emergency tools are stored in the industrial torus in the case of unforeseen circumstances. Earth Transfer Vehicles, or ETVs, are torpedo-like devices that can store inhabitants and other cargo if necessary. The industrial torus is like a specialized central hub that provides the behind-the-scenes technologies and mechanisms needed to maintain Charma 2.0. What a whopper! In conclusion, Charma 2.0 is novel, realistic, and most of all, it is sustainable. With these advantages in mind, it brings the thought of living amongst the stars a little bit closer to reality. The importance of settlement in the cosmos is often overlooked as merely exploring. Yet, celestial establishment is the foundation of a new, contemporary vision that will allow us to be witnesses of humanity's advancement. Taking into consideration the rising threats on Earth, humans have really gotta go. Realizing the immensity of interstellar space and the human need to expand boundaries, space colonization is a viable solution for some of the problems we are facing. What is being done today contributes directly to what the future generations will and should experience. Charma 2.0 will ultimately open the doors that this world of waste and curiosity so desperately needs open.